remember that time that Donald Duck was more popular than Mickey Mouse? Nah, probably not unless you're old as f***. And if you are, then respect. Thanks for watching. The late 1930s and early 40s was a golden era for many things. Radio shows, swing music, and believe it or not, an angry duck with a barely understandable quack. Yep, for a small period of time, Donald Duck managed to dethrone Mickey Mouse as the king of cartoons. Which sounds crazy today given Mickey Mouse's ubiquity, but for a period of time, Donald Duck was the feathered face of Disney's global empire. Not only back then was he more popular than Mickey, but in some parts of the world, especially Europe, today he still is the more popular character. So how did the furious fowl outshine the world's most famous rodent? Well, to start, it's important to note that Mickey Mouse by the early 1930s was practically America's sweetheart.
I'll clean up your yard.
From his 1928 debut in Steamboat Willie, Mickey became a symbol of Disney's creativity, optimism, and family-friendly fun. But there was just one problem. Mickey was too nice. By the end of the 1930s, he had evolved into a character that was, let's face it, a bit of a goody two-shoes. He wasn't causing any trouble or getting into any messes, and he certainly wasn't screaming at his neighbors. And it's during this period of time when characters like Bugs Bunny and Donald Duck became popular. And the latter was so relatable that it hurt. Donald Duck was first introduced in 1934, and he was everything that Mickey wasn't. He was temperamental, short-focused, and most importantly, hilarious to audiences. By the time the late 1930s rolled around, audiences were looking for something different. Mickey was like the perfect straight-laced hero, but Donald was you on a Monday morning when your coffee machine breaks. His outrageous reactions to everyday annoyances made him more real and relatable. And let's not forget his incomparable voice delivered by the legendary Clarence Nash added an extra layer of chaos. You might not understand what he was saying, but you knew exactly how he felt at all times. By 1938, Donald Duck had cemented his status as Disney's breakout star. In fact, during this period, he starred in more films than Mickey Mouse. Audiences couldn't get enough of his comedic exploits, whether he was fighting with inanimate objects or losing his cool over minor inconveniences. And it was during this time that Mickey's career started to take a bit of a back seat. Mickey's character was largely reactive, while Donald was a constant source of action and drama. Plus, Mickey's stories leaned towards the saccharine, while Donald's adventures were pure, unfiltered slapstick. And Donald Duck's popularity wasn't just limited to the United States. He became a global sensation, particularly in European countries like Sweden, Finland, and Germany. There's even a theory that Donald Duck's relatability resonated with war-torn audiences in World War II. Mickey, with his unflappable optimism, may have seemed a bit out of touch during a time of global crisis, but Donald, with his constant battles against the universe, mirrored the frustrations of the people trying to survive. He was a bird with problems, and that made him beloved. To this day, Donald Duck is more popular than Mickey Mouse in countries like Sweden, where Kaleaka, Donald's Swedish name, is a Christmas Eve tradition. Now, of course, Disney didn't abandon Mickey entirely during Donald's reign. They simply pivoted. While Donald was given the spotlight, Mickey was refined into more of a symbol than a character. You see, they needed Donald and they needed Mickey to have these two roles at the time. Mickey became the squeaky clean corporate image of Disney, while Donald was able to get his hands dirty and mix it up and get angry and be wild and off the walls and more relatable to audiences. This division of labor worked perfectly. Donald handled the comedy, while Mickey handled public relations. But as the 1940s came to a close, things started to shift. World War II ended, and with it, the world's appetite for Donald's brand of comedy began to wane. In the post-war era, audiences looked for more simple, idealized characters. Mickey, with his polished image and wholesome charm, was perfectly positioned to reclaim his crown, which eventually, of course, he did. Mickey returned to prominence with a slew of television appearances and merchandising. Meanwhile, Donald remained beloved, but his roles became more specialized, often serving as a foil to Mickey or appearing alongside his nephews in supporting roles. The rise of television also played a role in Mickey's resurgence. The Mickey Mouse Club, which premiered in 1955, brought the mouse back into the homes of millions. Mickey's friendly, familiar face was perfect for the new medium. He became the face of family-friendly programming, while Donald, still beloved, was more suited for the cartoon shorts that thrived in theaters, but would often struggle on TV. Mickey, being the more universal character, was able to transition to new platforms with ease. Today, Mickey Mouse reigns supreme as a symbol of Disney, but Donald Duck's influence can still be felt, particularly in European countries. In Germany, for instance, to this day, Mickey Mouse magazine features Donald Duck on most of its covers. A nod to the fact while Mickey may be the mascot, Donald is still a character that people love to watch lose his temper. It's amazing how these things work, right? Sometimes a character can be popular for years and then lose popularity while another one steps into their place. But familiarity oftentimes has more longevity than an explosion of popularity. We saw that with Mickey and Donald. And I just think it's fascinating that Donald Duck, of all characters, at one point was the most popular in the world. Because let's be real, most people don't really care that much about Donald Duck today. You think Disney, you think Mickey. But every Golden Boy needs a strong supporting cast to make them even better. And that's what Donald is to Mickey.